Love smarter, not harder, in dating. Part 3. And today my word for you is stop thinking it's all going to work out in the end. Really? Yeah, really. Why? Because it's actually all working out right now. Now, I hear some of you saying, no, it's not, because I've been broken up with 6 times this year, or last year I had such a long dry spell, there was no guy in sight, and my love life is a disaster. Dating is horrific in this day and age. I know what you're saying, because I said all the same things myself when I was single for all those years. And it's actually the reason I wrote my book, because I needed to have another vantage point in the dating relationship space. And dating can be so frustrating because if you're like me, I was raised by a make it happen, take charge father who told me, if he told me once, he told me a million times, make it happen, doll babe, make it happen. So I thought life was about making it happen. So in school, I studied hard and that hard work paid off and I got the good grades and then I was able to get into grad school and become a psychologist. So the hard work, the effort all paid off. So I assumed that that would be the same for love. But love just doesn't work that way. And it is absolutely infuriating for all of you take charge and make it happen kind of women. And like I said, that's one of the reasons I wrote my book. And I have a chapter in the book that talks about that, about trying to navigate that tension between making an effort, taking charge of your love life, but also realizing that some of it is out of our control. So when I say stop thinking that it's all going to work out in the end, what I mean by that is that it's all working out right now. Even the parts we can't control. Even the parts that drive us crazy. When I gave it my best shot in this relationship and it's still tanked. And when I have been out there on the apps and I've been out there online and I'm out there and I'm still not meeting anyone quality. Those parts can absolutely drive us nuts. But what I'm trying to say here is that it's not about this season being just this really frustrating time of your life and eventually it's going to work out okay. It's that this season is part of your journey. And all those frustrating times when things weren't working out, when my heart was getting broken, all those experiences made me me. And they made me stronger and they made me a better wife in my marriage today. Now it's really hard to have that perspective when your heart is breaking and when you're lonely and when it hurts to think, oh wait, this is just making me a better wife for my eventual husband. That's not easy, and that's why we have to remind ourselves of this. That's why we have to watch IGTVs like this. That's why we have to read books like mine and listen to podcasts that are full of encouragement and reminders of what we know down deep, but it's very hard to hang on to that truth when it's another lonely Saturday night. So again, the point today is stop thinking it's going to work out in the end. Why? Because that's a future orientation. And that gets you thinking, well, eventually, when I finally meet the one, when I finally have this beautiful marriage that I've been dreaming of since I was 5, living in the whens puts our life on hold and we aren't thriving in the now. And I talk about that in my book as well. I talk about don't be a lady in waiting, just waiting for that eventual marriage. So then you'll be happy. Then you'll take the trip. Then you'll buy the china. No, take the trip now, buy the china now, live now. Because when we're living in the now, and there's so much like research on this, that's when we're thriving. And psychologically, we're more at peace. We're able to really appreciate, and gratitude is always related to happiness as well. So when we're living the now, we're appreciating everything that's around us and we're able to thrive knowing that it's not that all this stuff, these heartbreaks that I've been going through, this loneliness, it's not happening to me, it's happening for me. I'm going to be stronger. I'm going to be better prepared to be that wife I want to be in that eventual marriage that I'm going to have. And let's be honest, a lot of people rush things. We know it, and I'm not trying to hate on anybody. Everyone's path is their own. But I can tell you, people I know who got married young and didn't have to go through all those lonely years in adulthood that I did, they had their own unique set of challenges because they had to grow up together. And that's not always the easiest path either. So instead of looking at other people's path and going, why is it working out for them and not for me? because comparison is the thief of joy. That's my favorite Theodore Roosevelt quote. Instead of looking at what they have or anticipating what eventually is going to happen in my future, remember that everything's not working out eventually in the future. Everything's working out exactly how it's supposed to be right now. So thanks for listening and watching, and check out my podcast. I have a ton of content about these types of issues. I'm thinking of my episode with Lise Wilcox. It's a 2-part series where she talks about just going through some really huge life challenges and still trying to sit in the now and remain authentic to herself. Also, my episode on how to beat the biological clock, because again, sometimes people are rushing things because that clock is ticking, and I'm going to devote a ton more content to that because that's a very powerful force in women's lives. But for now, I encourage you, stop thinking it's all going to work out eventually in the end, and start thinking and embracing and believing that it's all working out right now.